two of their wide receivers out with torn ACLs after Wild Card weekend. Josh Allen himself also listed with multiple injuries. He's going to play, though, but he's not 100%. And they're going to go to Mile High, where the Broncos are coming off a bye and seemingly healthy and rested. We know how good that defense is as well. Let's pick the games here, guys. Bills, Broncos. Who you taking? Cam, you first.
Let's go, Buffalo. You know you make me want to shout. Why? Because you got Josh Allen. Josh Allen is in a position where there's an ongoing expectation that you play like you are the difference maker that you are. As long as they got number 17 in Josh Allen, that team is the better team. Unfortunate circumstances does not exist when you have the talent like Josh Allen. So therefore, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills in Denver to win.
What do you like, Ray?
I'm taking
nonsense.
Josh. Oh, go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
No, nonsense. This is ridiculous. Okay. First of all, Josh Allen got the knee injury, got the finger injury, but he'll overcome that. They got 14 dudes on IR, listed on IR. 14 dudes. Okay. You got Shavers, he's out. You got Davis, he's out. I'm just looking at Denver. 68 sacks on the season. You got four different cats with at least 7 sacks, led by Benito with 14. You're going to get to the quarterback, okay? You got Patrick Surtain shutting down a full half of the field. It's just too much to overcome, okay? I get you. We love Josh Allen. He's the best in the business. He's going home. And he's got a beautiful home to go to, by the way, with a marvelous actress as a wife. He's got a beautiful home to go to. All right, I'm glad that he got nothing but the best of him and his family. He going home. Broncos win.
You know what? I love that you said all that, Stephen A., because this is really setting up for Josh Allen to become the football god that Bills Mafia already thinks that he is. He's injured. You're only walking out there with Shakir and Coleman and Cooks. You're playing against the number 2 defense. And honestly, there's no way you can blame Josh Allen. Josh Allen, you banged up. You ain't supposed to win. You're playing against a roster that's better than your roster. And you know what? You know what they say. Oh, he got the Cam physicality. He got the John Elway arm. He plays hard like Brett Favre and that toughness. And this is the time where he gets to join all of the people, the Montanas and the Mahomeses and the Bradys, as one of the greatest that have ever played. I'm taking Josh Allen. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills because it's setting up for him to be everything that many people... Me! But what he's asking for in that help is Joe Brady, James Cook, and the running backs. Can we get this run game going against a very stout Denver defense? We didn't see that last week, but we saw Josh be able to create some deep throws with Brandon Cooks and obviously Dalton Kincaid on the screen and go. That's going to be less available this week. Normally, it's where's 21 on the other side because you have a matchup win there. They don't really have that this week with the Buffalo Bills, and so it has to start with the run game. And for me, I want to see half rolls and boots and meshes to get Josh out of the pocket, but also create some easier throws by running some of these players through the traffic and attacking the linebackers with the tight end position, which going into this week probably has Josh's best pass catchers.
Yeah, a lot of folks don't necessarily trust Bo Nix yet, right? Yeah. Because of the inconsistency.
Well, I think that's the point you made, though, about the divisional round.
Right.
Normally in the divisional round, guys like Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes are waiting. They aren't there this week.
Yeah, and so, Mina, on the other side, give me the blueprint, okay, for this Broncos offense.
Run the damn ball. It's not that complicated. I mean, last week, I'm telling you, every Bills fan on earth was thrilled that the Jags stopped handing it back off to their running backs because they were gashing them. I do think Ed Oliver returning could potentially help this Bills run defense, but to be blunt, they have not been good for the entire NFL season. And the Broncos run game, while not particularly flashy, has improved as the season has gone along, particularly in efficiency. I do think Jaleel McLaughlin adds a little bit of juice to that backfield. I think the Broncos have very underrated skill players when it comes to blocking. So if the Bills play them light, they'll be able to move bodies. And I think Bo Nix adds to that. Dan, you know, we've seen so often this Bills team in the red zone struggle when quarterbacks use the option, the edges crash, and there's opportunities there. So I think Bo Nix using his legs will also be a part of that. But if I'm Sean Payton, I'm going very run heavy given the opponent.
Well, I understand the run heavy given the opponent. I also go a little bit run heavy because I think that this is a bad matchup pass game for the Broncos offense, Bills defense. they're going to make
Yeah.
Bo Nix look at
Agree.
so many different things.
Yes.
He struggles
Yeah.
when he has to think. Like, that's it. That's the truth, okay? So the less that you're asking him to think and read against all these different zones and cover changes, I think better. Two things that I also agree with Mino when it comes to their run game that I would pay attention to. How many different things they get into their 4x1 personnel and utilize. And then I agree, MK, like, while Jacksonville ran the football on the perimeter well, one of the things that's part of this Denver offense is they want to get the ball to the perimeter now.
Yeah.
These RPOs, these
Yeah.
4x1 perimeter screens. I think you can
Yes.
live in that world a little bit where it may not be this downhill, quote unquote, perimeter run game, but I still think getting the ball out on the perimeter quickly is a big deal. But I think a huge part of this is if Sean Payton asks Bo Nix to dissect this defense and diagnose this Buffalo defense, I think you set him up to fail.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Ed Oliver is coming back. Swaggy, we saw you perk up a little bit at that news. What kind of difference do you think that makes? There you go.
Well, look, if he's fully healthy, and I'm assuming that he can do a lot and be close to who Ed Oliver is, hopefully it's fresh legs as opposed to being a little bit rusty by not being on the field. But more importantly, we saw this Buffalo Bills defense last week thrive on big plays. That's how they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars from a defensive standpoint. They made a bunch of big plays. So when you think about having Ed Oliver back, not only should it help you in the run game, but one of the issues for this Buffalo team has been interior pressure. And in order to get Bo Nix moving off of his spot when they do try to drop him straight back, I think this goes a long way. Y'all know how I feel about three techniques in the playoffs in critical down and distance situations. So if Ed Oliver can come back and be who Ed Oliver was before this injury, this is a major boost to this defense, because last week we saw the
pre-show meeting today. I don't have a horse. I haven't had a horse in this race since October. So I'm kind of rooting for Josh Allen to finally get it done. And it seems to me like they have everything in the world stacked up against them. They're on a short week. Sunday to Saturday. The Broncos have an extra week of rest. The Bills lost two more receivers since their last game, and they were already short in that department. And Josh is playing with a foot and a finger and a knee, and he's just beaten to shreds. Everything in the world is lined up against them. I said that in the meeting, and you said
they're built to beat Denver. Buffalo is, and this was the best matchup that they could have gotten. Hawk just kind of intimated it too. So one, structurally, you don't want to throw the ball against those corners in Denver, Moss and Surtain. You want to attack the linebackers. No one plays more man coverage in the NFL than the Denver Broncos defense. No quarterback and no offense is better in the NFL than throwing the ball to their backs and tight ends than Buffalo. This is the perfect matchup for Buffalo, and what you're going to get is all these motions with Shakir. Josh eats throwing to tight ends and backs. He's as good, if not better, than any quarterback in the NFL. I think this is a advantageous matchup for the Buffalo offense versus Denver's defense, and it's the best one they could have gotten.
styles make fights. Do you agree with that? Does the styles of these two teams favor the Bills to you?
It's hard for me to say, because you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, and clearly from a roster standpoint, they were much better than the Buffalo Bills last week. And every single throw that Josh Allen made when the receiver would catch the ball, there's no yak. It's a bang play. He's catching it, but that's exactly how Josh Allen needs to say too. For exactly what Dan is saying, is like, you're going to take what the defense gives you, make quick decisions, get your checkdowns when you need to, and if you can get this game into the fourth quarter and Josh Allen has the ball in his hands with 2 minutes left in the game, I feel very confident that he's going to walk away going to the AFC Championship.
Me too.
Josh Allen's obviously Superman, but you look at, he said like an average receiver core the entire year, and he loses two guys last week like they get sniped.
Right. Yeah.
Like, this Buffalo Bills team is so desperate to get a wide receiver. I'm hearing rumors during commercial that there could be a visit of a potential receiver going out to Buffalo later today, and they're so desperate they might need a resurgence.
Okay.
Getting in a Buffalo
I like what you
uniform.
did there.
Hawk, come on.
Is there news?
Can you go out there and run a couple of rounds for us this weekend?
You know what? I won't say that I can't.
I will.
Because my hamstrings will. You get what I'm saying? Because I don't have to say it verbally. There'll be a lot of other signs and cues to show you that I can't get it done.
I don't think you can.
That was brilliantly played. That said, do they have enough? I mean,
It's tough.
I don't want to sound like a fan here, but it feels to me like the Bills, they just keep dropping left and right, and at some point it's a battle of attrition. You've got Keon Coleman, you've got Khalil Shakir, you've got Brandon Cooks, who has been playing very well for them, but has been there like a month.
I think what they did last week is a little bit of the recipe you're going to see. When you see the defenses and how they play the Bills, they are watching the same tape that we're watching. The receiver play hasn't been anything to write home about. But even last week, you saw those corners get nosy, and it did create some opportunities down the field. You're going to have a heavy dose of James Cook, both in the run game and the pass game. But Josh Allen is going to have to play within himself. Like, I caution against him trying to go be Superman, right, and trying to make plays that aren't there. Whereas, again, last week, and we'll see that in the receiver tape that we have, Keon Coleman made some plays down the field. Obviously, Brandon Cooks made plays down the field. You're going to see here, this is an out route from Brandon Cooks, and you see how this corner is playing. It's actually really, really well played, but they're being ultra aggressive. Here also is a shot down the field to Brandon Cooks because that corner is getting nosy on the tight end because they know what they like to do. Same with Keon Coleman. Nosy corner against the slot creates throws down the field. As long as they are taking those shots when those opportunities arise and not letting them placate and dictate how they're using their pass game, they'll have a shot.
Let me quickly ask my offensive lineman here, because you guys are smashing. There was a question up there a second ago. How much does the rest difference matter? And then I will factor in the altitude. Again, the Broncos got a bye, so they haven't played in 2 weeks. The Bills played a road game Sunday, turn around, play another road game Saturday. In the altitude, that feels to me like it's got to be a factor. Do you think it matters in this game?
I'm sure it does have some level of mattering when it comes to like just the experience of both quarterbacks that I look at. Sometimes if you're a younger quarterback and there's a level of maturity there, and Bo Nix, we know, is the ultimate professional. He came in much more mature out of college than most guys. But when you have that break and you've had the success that the Denver Broncos have, you're not feeling the callus of the season wear on. And sometimes you have to have a little more of a callus than it blistering, taking a 1 week off. And I had to deal with that in 2021. We had we were the 1 seed in the AFC. We were riding high. Derrick Henry was coming back, and the Bengals took care of business against us at home. So there's a lot of pros and cons to having a bye week in the playoffs, but a lot of times you're going to hurt those teams because you kind of let off the gas a little bit. You're a little more comfortable. When I believe there's such thing as too much recovery. Sure. When you recover too much, you start to feel good. You start to get in that off-season feel. The Epsom salt baths feel extra nice. And you go back into this war mode that the team's just coming from. It can be a lot different.
But I don't feel like they've been able to relax either. It's like the way they finished out their season against the Chargers and Chiefs. It's not like they played out of this world to where when they're watching tape, they're not comfortably like resting like they're getting rest in the bye week, but they're not sitting there with this lax attitude because they know they got to come out with urgency against this Bills.
They're the 1 seed, Denver. There's so much, both by a tape perspective and if you're a numbers or stats person, that favors Buffalo. I've talked about it from the offensive perspective, that the matchups that they create, the Dawson, Knox, Kincaid, Cook, and Shakir, if they get 20 targets, this is advantageous for Buffalo's offense. What does Josh do against man coverage with his legs? He eats it alive. Denver plays a ton. You're going to see Josh take off 2 or 3 times per quarter, specifically in those huge downs. Who wins those matchups? Does Josh scramble for that first down? And then on the flip side, Bo Nix has been a roller coaster. He has been. Bo Nix, when you present zone defense to Bo, he gets into a little bit of a frantic pace. Buffalo is one of the best zone defenses in football. I would be shocked if Buffalo plays more than 5 snaps of man coverage. So there's a lot with respect to understanding that Denver's the 1 seed, no doubt. There's a lot that just from a matchup perspective, you sit there and if you watch these teams every week this year, you go, Buffalo should win this football game.
We're going to find out. It's pretty much dead even.
All right.
DraftKings. We're going to dive into it. We'll make picks as we continue. Meanwhile, coming up next.